welcome in to Your Health. And we have something very interesting, probably for everyone in our audience, regardless of your age, because I think that these are issues that we will be talking about for a long time. And we are very fortunate to have with us Dr. Dave Pierce. And Dr. Pierce, you are with the Geriatric Behavioral Unit in Prattville.
Correct.
That has recently been opened up. And I would like to ask you, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from upstate New York, and I'm married and have a couple of sons, and went to school in New York at Mount Sinai and
Wow.
trained at Columbia. And, a higher power got me to Prattville, Alabama. So
Wonderful.
yeah, and I'm just absolutely delighted to be here. I love it here.
Well, we love having you here, so that's a mutual admiration society. And I would love for you to tell me and our audience, tell us something about this behavioral unit, this geriatric behavioral unit in Prattville.
Okay, well, it's bright and new and shiny and very welcoming. There's lots of light and it's warm. And the thing that I like about it the most is that it's filled with people with warm hearts. And to me, that's the most important thing in taking care of patients. And there's a tremendous need in this part of the state. The population is aging, and so disorders that occur in older age are becoming, a more significant public health problem.
Actually, I'm curious. What are the top? Let's just. I know there are many, but let's just narrow that down. What would you say are the top 3 conditions that would be well treated there at your facility?
Well, the most commonly treated disorder is major depression, and that becomes more frequent as the risk of that increases as people age, and the risk of suicide also increases as people get older. I don't think we normally think about suicide like that, but I think we tend to think of it as something that occurs in younger people, but actually it's older folks, and so that's the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. And
oh my gosh, the 10th leading cause. We've got to be able to prevent that if we can.
That's right. And depression is very treatable. Most patients get at least somewhat better with treatment, and the biggest variable is how much they're willing to follow through and seek it out. The second most common reason that people get admitted to the unit is because of cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's disease, which can, as the disease progresses, cause behavioral problems and problems with thinking and sometimes hearing voices, things like that.
So here is a really important question. Suppose that I have a friend or I have a relative and I'm seeing this. Who is a candidate for coming to you at the Geriatric Behavioral Center there?
Well, anyone whose behavior is causing a problem potentially for safety. If somebody is starting to wander away,
okay,
or if they're getting irritable and aggressive, or if they can't manage things that require higher level thought, like taking medication, and they're not doing things like that appropriately. Anything that puts them or the people around them at risk should be evaluated.
Okay, and so that means if you've got a critical situation, not one that is just ongoing, and you need help trying to get that crisis kind of critical situation under control and treated
Mhm.
as best
Mhm.
you can,
Mhm.
then this is the perfect place.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
And people can call 911. I know a lot of people are hesitant to do that,
Okay.
you know, with a loved one, but the police will normally bring somebody into the emergency room to get evaluated. We have contact information for our department that we'll get for you.
Wonderful. We'll put that up on the screen for you.
Okay. And part of the problem, particularly with Alzheimer's, is that often when people have it, they're not aware of having it. So as you're trying to help somebody, they're resisting you.
Right.
And in Alabama, you can submit a petition to your local courthouse, and the court will decide whether or not somebody has to be evaluated and potentially hospitalized. And you know, in other states, it's not. You can't do that. In Alabama, you can, and I think that that's a really nice thing about Alabama law is that a family member, if they're willing to do something that's a little uncomfortable, can get, you know, can use that avenue to get them help.
Well, thank you, and I actually thank God. I'm glad a higher power brought you here, because for those of you who are facing a crisis, and there are a lot of you out there, Baptist Health has a place where you can go. And thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Virginia.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.